Alright, so today I'll be building this motor off my chopper. Some guy, I was selling it on I'm selling it on Facebook, and some guy hit me up and he said, he was talking to me, we're talking back and forth about a build he wants to do, and he said, you know what, I'll just buy your motor, buy the parts, and then just build your motor, or my motor basically, which he's gonna buy off of me. So I'm gonna do a somewhat semi build on it, not a full build. I mean, the Ghost engines already have bigger valves and a camshaft in it, a Fire 265 cam, I believe. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking this Ghost motor off of this bike and start breaking it down. So I'm gonna go ahead by unbolting all those wires that go to the starter for the battery and all those other things in the back. So it's a 10mm for the starter. There we go. So take that out, pull all these cables off. So that's all out of the way. Make sure I get what cables are what. I have to unplug some things, but I'm gonna go ahead and take off the carburetor over there for the throttle. So here we are, just take this off. That's it. Take that out. Now I just really have to unbolt the engine itself. They're connected right there. Let me go ahead and take that off. So go ahead and unbolt these bolts from the bottom. So I could go ahead and take off the motor now, I believe. Take off this fuel line. So here it is, took it out. Don't mind all this wiring. This was just from the key start to the starter and other wiring I had. But here it is. It has a torque converter. I think this is a 30 series torque converter. Stock. This motor is fully stock besides the ignition coil. I took off the rev limiter. It's a 6,000 RPM rev limiter, and I didn't put this torque converter. It actually came with when I traded the bike. It already came with a torque converter, so it's like the only thing that's upgraded for performance, and then the starter and key start and all that. So I'll go ahead and start taking off this torque converter plate thingy. So now that I have that off, I'm gonna take off the side cover. So as you can see, the camshaft got thrown out the motor because I was turning the motor. That was on accident. I was trying to catch it, but you know, good thing it didn't fall on the floor. Go ahead and take off this cylinder head. There you are. Those are the rocker arms and the springs. And the springs are what hold the intake and exhaust valve in. So now that that's off, you can see that bolt right there. And then the other bolt right there. That's for the cylinder head. And then there's two bolts right here and right here. Guess I need to take off the rocker arms for that one, for those two bottom bolts. To take off the rocker arms, you need to take off this bolt right here. 5/16, so it's 5/16, same as the valve cover bolt. Now slide the pin out. Now slide the rocker arms out so they got off. And slide this out. There you go. So just pull the head right off. Make sure you take off the ignition coil wire. That's exactly what I forgot to do. And you know what? I need to take off these 10mm bolts. This spacer, there you go. And there's your head. Along with your head gasket right there. Well, all those bolts fell out. So it turns out I blew this head gasket up. I blew it up probably like a week or two ago. I was in Lake Elsinore with my buddy, and we went on a cruise with him on his chopper as well. And you know, my bike was acting kind of funny after, and turns out I blew the head gasket. You can see right there. You can see where all the gases were escaping, so it didn't have much compression. So I mean, it's a good thing I'm tearing this motor down, you know, rebuilding it and all that. Would have been a bummer if I sold the guy this motor would have blown a head gasket without knowing. But now I'm gonna go ahead and take off the side cover or the bell housing for the flywheel, if I could take off the flywheel. And then after I take off the flywheel, I could take off the piston and take out the crank. Now this moves super easy and freely. So now I could get it to its lowest point right there, and then get my 10mm, break that loose. I don't know if you can see that. And break this other one loose. And now you could just take it out with your finger. There we go. So those are both out. Pop this cap off. There's the rod cap. What I do is take out the crank first, and then easier to push the rod out. Put it outside, push it out. There you go. There's your little 20 little bit piston. It's literally the size of my hand, smaller. So there that is, along with your rod cap. All right, so as you can see, took apart the whole motor. Already sanded down the deck of the block where the head goes. I didn't take these off, but I need to. I forgot to take those off. So now I'm gonna go ahead and measure crank to rod clearance, the bearings in the rod. And to do that, I'm gonna use plastic gauge. They have to be at least 2/1000 of an inch for clearances, which is like perfect basically. So go ahead and disassemble this, put the bearings in. So go ahead and take these off. Now that that's done, here's our bearings for the rod. These bearings, there's a little tang on both of them. You can see it right there. There's a little tang, and there's a tang right here. So this one, put it up against it like that, and then you push down on one side, and then push evenly on both sides. And you're gonna want to make sure that part right there, that tang, is pushed up against the actual rod, so that way it's not like that and it's actually pushed up like that. And then just press evenly, and then same thing for the rod cap. So here it is. You go with the tang right there, and then you just push down and then push evenly to make sure they're even. So now once that's done, we'll go ahead and clean the bearings one time. Now once you have your bearings in, the rod and the actual cap, you want to take your crankshaft, and just slightly put it on there. You don't want to scratch the journal. So you just put it on there, right? And then you get your green plastic gauge. You want to get the green one because this measures up to a certain thousandths, or a certain measurement. I think it goes up to 15 from what I could see up on the on the measurements. It goes up to 15. So go ahead and take it out. You can see it right there. And you're gonna want to cut a little piece off, enough or small enough to actually fit on this piece, on the crankshaft. So like that is fine. And then I already did it. You put oil on your threads on the rod bolts, and there's gonna be 2 dots, 1 dot on the rod, and then 1 dot on the rod cap, and 1 dot on the rod. So those dots, they need to be right above each other on the same side. So go ahead and tighten this down. So these you're gonna want to torque it down to 170 inch-pounds. So you need an inch-pounds torque wrench. You want to go ahead and do it 20 pound increments. So go from 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, so on and so forth. So I want to set it to 20. You can see mine is at 20. So and then we'll just go up from there. And you want to remember, while you're doing this, you don't want to move the crank. You don't want to twist it. Just try not to even touch it. So you don't want to twist it or anything, because then the plastic gauge in there, it won't read right. So keep that in mind while doing this. And then for this one, I'm gonna go up to 150, so I'm gonna go up 30. Because you want to look at your paper. It says to go up to 150 inch-pounds, 150 inch-pounds, and then back it down, and then torque it to 100. So 150. So it's 150 inch-pounds. So. So now back it down. And then torque it down to 100. So now go back down to 100. And then now go by 20s up to 170 inch-pounds. Now I'm gonna go up to 170, but that's gonna be going up 30. Now that that's done, just back it down all the way. And as you can see, the plastic gauge is right there, so it squished it to a certain measurement. So now our paper says you are shooting for 25 to 3,000. But it should be no less than 2,000. Okay, so what you want to do, the measurements on your plastic gauge, these are, okay, it's this side, so just take it and you measure. So as you can see, it's about right about 2,000. Can't really see that, but right at 2,000. So you see how it's the same right there. See how it's the same size as the print on the paper? There you go. So it's at 2,000. So no less than 2,000. So we're good. considering this is a brand new rod. Oh my god, my neighbors won't shut the fuck up. Alright, so now that I think my neighbors had shut up, where I was at was, this is right at 2000s. So this is good. This crank is good. I'm sure most of the time you're gonna want to measure around the whole crank, but this crank is barely used. So it's a brand new crank, so it's barely used. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be good all around the journal. So don't forget to scrape off the plastic gauge on your rod as well. Just go ahead and scrape it off. So what I'm gonna do really quick is just spray this down. We get our crank and we just shove it in the hole. Just like that. So now I have to go buy piston installation tool, piston sleeve tool, whatever you want to call it, because I had one but ended up breaking. So go ahead, I'll show you what you're gonna need. Here's the flat top piston I'm gonna be using. So it's a flat top piston. It's not like the dished ones where it's like dished. So give them a little bit more compression, a little bit more of a bang, a little bit more of a pow. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to install this on the rod. All right, so here are all the parts. You got the piston rings, your piston rings. So you got you technically got 5 different rings. So this is your oil ring, so when it scrapes the oil coming up and down the piston. This is your second ring, so the second compression ring. Then this is your top compression ring. You know the difference when the thicker one goes on the top. So the thicker one is gonna go on the first line, the first groove. The second thickest one is gonna go on the second groove, and then oil scraper and these two go on the last groove. And I'll show you how to do that because they all go all in one. All right, so what you're gonna want to do is first you need to measure your gap. So in order to measure your gap, what you need to do is install it into the cylinder. So you're gonna want to install it into the cylinder just like that, and then take your piston and just push it down. So it could be try to get it as even as possible. So it's about right. And then you're gonna want to take feeler gauges. So these metal sheets are different sizes. So for the top ring, you're gonna want to shoot for 10 to 12 thousandths. So here's 11, 12, and 13. So I'm gonna go ahead and put 11 in this gap right here. And that actually feels pretty good. See, 12 and then 13. So that one feels good. 13. let's try. Let's just try 14 and see if it's a little bigger. So, I mean, that should be fine. 14 doesn't really go in there. There you go. It doesn't really go in there. So, that's fine. Anywhere between 10 and 12 thousandths. And then your bottom ring, your other ring, you want it to be a little bit bigger. So maybe 14, 15 thousandths. So I'm gonna need to put these rings on by hand. I gave my buddy's brother the piston ring tool, and he still has it, I guess. And I thought he gave it back, but he didn't. But it's fine. So what you could do for these is, first you want to slide it around, but don't expand it too much, because these could break pretty easily. So there's that one, there's the top one. There's the second one. There you go. And then there's oil scraper. So the oil scraper ring, you put it right here. Right there. And then these, you're gonna want to put them on the same. These are these rings that go with the oil scraper, they're way thinner. So you're gonna wanna make sure you don't break these. Hopefully I don't break these. Just like that. So it goes right there with the oil scraper. So on the top, and the other one goes on the bottom. Like that. Boom. So the clamp, the tool that puts these piston rings on, you don't necessarily need them, but it could make your life 10 times easier. So now the gaps, these gaps, you're gonna want to have them separate. Don't have them stacked like that. So this one, probably put it over here, and this other one, you probably want to put it over here, and then these, you know, separate them. If I could put it with my finger, there we go. So there you go. So there's your piston head done and installed. Now you get your wrist pin, and it comes with these little clips. So these clips, you're gonna want to put one of the clips on first on this side, or it doesn't matter what side, but you're gonna want to put your little pin in like that. There you go. So just like that. And then I would put oil on the wrist pin. So oil up the wrist pin, then you want to make sure you put the rod on the right. You want to make sure you put the rod on the right way. So this has a little arrow. So the arrow goes down in the cylinder like that. And then the piston rod, piston rod, it's gonna go like that. So the arrow down like that. So you want to put your piston in there first, slide this down there, put it in the rod, put it in the rod like that, and after that you just put the other clip. This one, you put this other clip, there you go. So that's in, and then you could take off the rod cap. Now I put the rod cap on to make sure I'm putting on the piston rod the right way. So there you go, it's in there, nice and neat. There you go. You want to be quick with it. You don't want to be slow like I did the first time, but I mean, it's good that you fail because you learn from mistakes. Now that the piston is in there, you look at it from in there and you can see the rod. And the rod, you're gonna want to match it up with the crank, you're gonna want to match it up with the rod. So I would put it against it and then push the piston down like this, keeping the contact. That's what I would do. I find it easier. And then once it's already a full rotation, you can see the piston going back up. And then I would keep it about right there. I think right there is good. What I would also do, get some oil on your finger and just put it on the journal. Put it on the crank journal, because you don't want to run it dry. Get your rod cap and you install it like that. Now what you're gonna want to do is check up here. So you're gonna want to rotate the crank and check up here if the rod hits the actual block. So. We look good. Looks good. Super close. Not really. I mean, kind of close. I don't know if you can see that. I am pretty sure that'll be fine. Alright, so as you can see, crank, rod, and piston head, or the full rotating assembly, is installed. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put the camshaft, but first I need to put those lifters on. So I'll go ahead and shove that in there. This one as well. And then you shove these in there. Like that. Then you get your cam. I want to put oil on the lobes as well. Get your cam and you shove it in there like that. Boom. And then that one. So what that does, it aligns the valve cover. I mean the side cover like that. Alright, so that's done. So everything inside the motor is done now. Now I just need to go get a new head gasket. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and do the flywheel, the billet flywheel. So now, to put this billet flywheel on, you need valve grinding compound. This is your valve grinding compound. And what you're gonna wanna do is put some right on here. Alright, so you put that all over there. What that does and what that's gonna do is you need your flywheel. So when you put your flywheel on here, you're gonna basically, the surface on the flywheel and on the crank, you're basically gonna match the surface for them to sit perfectly on the crank and on the flywheel. Go ahead and take it off, see what it's looking like. So you can see right there, look. You can see right there that you're sanding that to match with that, and you're sanding that to match with that. So, one more time. Alright, so you can see that the valve grinding compound basically made this surface to this surface. So you can see it in there. It's all like scuffed up, scratched up, which is fine because that's exactly how it's supposed to look. So now we could go ahead and put this flywheel on, but first we have to put that key on. Now that that's on, the key, go ahead and, what I would do is get some silicone and put it where the key goes, right there on the crank, on the flywheel. So just put some right there. There you go, it's fine. And then just slide over. Okay, what's going on? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start putting the intake manifold with the boot to the carburetor. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to take out these studs that come for the stock carburetor, which is a Makuni or Kian. I forgot what stock carburetor the Ghost engine has, but I'm gonna go ahead and take these studs off, so I can install new carburetor and new intake manifold. All right, so what you're gonna want to do to take out these studs is get the original screws, or I mean bolts or nuts. Jesus Christ. Get the original nuts, or get some nuts that fit on that thread, and then you're gonna want to squeeze them together, push them together, and tighten them good, and basically just loosen it like that. There you go. Take these off. Just loosen it up with any other knuckle. Just that. Go. Take them off. Put these on. This. Oh, back down. That. So that's off. That's how easy that is. Just put it on like this. Some Allen heads, and then they'll be on there. Let me go get some Allen heads. It's not the right size. Alright, let me find the right size. So that's on. Now we get our boot. There you go. Look how beautiful that is. Holy sh! Alright, so as you can see, I already have the flywheel on and the cup for the actual pulley to latch on. I didn't record it. I had my dad help me. He put a crowbar, torqued it down. So now that I got my fresh new head gasket, I'll go ahead and install the cylinder head that I already have the intake manifold on. So to put your cylinder head or the head gasket, make sure you have your dowel pins in the head. Go ahead, take your gasket like that. See how it slides on smoothly? Goes right in there. And then basically after that, you just put, Alright, so once you have your dowel pins in the head, you get your head gasket and it's just slide right on like that. Just like that. And then you get your head and you put it on just like that. Get your cylinder head bolts like that. Get your rocker like that. Just get your valve cover like so. Boom. Now put our spark plug. We could put our exhaust pipe. There you go. So there's the pipe. Now, good. This is the carburetor where the guy's gonna run. Part number 016144, PWK 28mm. So here it is. This is the carburetor, like that. And we just slide it on in there. So there you have it. There's carburetor, exhaust, head, everything's on. Alright, so now that I have the cylinder head on, valve cover all sealed up and everything. Also, I did torque down the heads. I know I didn't show that part, but I took a picture of me torquing it down to 22 foot-pounds each bolt. So now what I have to do is put the coil on, and then we could put the bell housing of the motor. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So here we are. Get your bolts started by finger. You're gonna want to get it to where you can move it a little bit back and forth like this, not too tight. Probably like that. And then you're gonna want your feeler gauges, and you're gonna want to put this to at least 30 thousandths. You put the feeler gauges in between here. Here we have 22 and 8, so that's 30. I'm gonna go ahead and do is I took both of them out. Go ahead and slide these in here like that. Loosen this one. All right, so I want to make sure that's all the way down. You want to put quite a bit of force on it. And you turn this. There you go. As you can see, bell housing is on. Went ahead and installed the kill switch, and now I'm gonna go ahead and install this fuel pump, and we're gonna install it right about there. You can see the mark I already made right about there. So gas comes in through here. That's a vacuum port to there, so it's gonna go like that. And that's where it actually pumps into the carburetor. So I'm gonna go ahead and use some tap metal screws to tap into the metal on the bell housing. But first I'm gonna need to tap it and then cut the screws, because the screws are a little too long. So I'm gonna do is go in with my drill bit, make a small little hole. I don't need to go all the way through. That should work fine. So now that I have a starting point, I don't have a punch. I know you could use a punch, but I don't have a punch. Mine broke. Go ahead and tap it, or so I'm gonna just, for now, I'm gonna just have that in there. Bear with me. Just to hold it, drill it back in. So now that's on there. Go ahead and put it with screw. I'll go in with a screwdriver. And then now what I'm gonna do, just take this hose, slide it on there like that. So that hose is on. Next is this hose. This hose goes to the carburetor, so it goes from here there you go, like that. Hook it up right there. Like that. And then this hose just goes from here to the gas tank, which isn't here, but gas tank is on, it's gonna go. Like that. It's gonna go like that wherever the inlet or wherever the outlet is for the fuel or for the gas tank. Just push this in a little bit more. There you go. Just like that. The throttle I have is MGO or IMGO throttle. Throttle Sports with cable and jam nut. So this is a throttle I'm gonna putting on the bike. Made in Taiwan. There's your part number 2640127. This is the guy's bike. He finally brought it in. It's a pretty big bike, to be honest. I'm not exactly sure what brand it is or what company, but I'm guessing it's Massimo motor. Well, that's the motor, but Massimo, I'm guessing. I'm not exactly sure, but it's a pretty big bike, if I do say so myself. Has brakes. I'm guessing that's like a the brake where it holds the wheel, I'm guessing. Chain guard. Motor, big wheels, you already know. Live front forks. Here's the brake. I think this is for his light, or this one's for his light. I forgot. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest, but what I'm gonna go ahead and do is take off that motor and put the other one. So let's get started. All right, so first what I'm gonna do is take off this chain cover. Just like so. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take off this link right here, which keeps the whole chain together. All right, so there we are. Took a while to actually get the clip off, so go ahead and take it out. There you go. Push that out like that. Then we just take off the whole chain. That. Now I'm gonna go ahead and unbolt the motor. I'm just now realizing there's silicone all over on the side cover. So go ahead and take it off. Now we take off these carburetor cover bolts. There you go. Undo it from here. Get that out. Now we just disconnect that ground wire right there. All right, so As you can see, I have the new throttle on. So now I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the throttle cable to the actual carburetor slide. So there you go. Went ahead and put the throttle cable. It was kind of tricky to actually put it on because the cable is like, I guess not perfect length, but just enough to make it smooth when everything is hooked up, or to make it run right when everything is hooked up. So that's all fine. All right, so it's all bolted down and hooked up. Let's see how it sounds. Smooth. It's real smooth. What I'm gonna do is hook up these LED lights. The wire's right there. Use that connector. So I basically had to rewire that connector to those right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I already wired the ground side of these lights. So this wire basically just has to go to ground, and then this is the power side. And I'm gonna be using the same wire since I don't have no other wire, but I'll probably just label it. So as you can see, red is for positive, black is for negative. Strip the insulation, that, turn the wire, and then I'm gonna get my solder stick wire connectors. These come in handy if you're doing a lot of wiring. I highly recommend these. So what you do, with these, what you do is just slide it over like a jimmy, and then just wrap it around like so. Once that's all done, you just slide it in. Take my little torch. Just heat it up a little bit. As you can see, I mean, I burnt it a little bit, but it works better with a heat gun since it's not a direct flame. But there you go. You could see that. You can see the solder actually melted into the wire, so it makes a good connection. And then now you get your heat shrink to make it look all pretty. There you go, nice and pretty. All right, so here are the lights. This is how far I've gone wiring them. So I wired the negative to the negative, positive to the positive. And then from here, these, the white and yellow wire, actually go to the switch. So this yellow and white wires go to the switch, and right here it's a three-way. So the red one, this one's gonna go straight to the battery, and then the black one is gonna go straight to the negative side on the battery. So now all I need to do is get an inline fuse holder and a fuse, either a 5 or 10 amp, and basically put it as close to the battery as possible. All right, so here's the bike, almost done. It's not completely done, but this is what I've done to it so far. So Put new tires on it. These are street tires. Put some headlights. Wired up the headlights to a battery. They don't turn on right now because the battery's dead as fuck. So yeah, it doesn't turn on. But those lights, I wired it to this switch right here, so it's easy to turn on and off. Had to put a fuse, 10 amp fuse in there. As you can see, cylinder gas tank. Had to zip tie it for now. Street tire in the back as well. Has taller handlebars. I think these are like 12-inch handlebars. I'm not exactly sure, but with the new throttle, you hear that? That sounds really good. So now all I'm waiting for is the grips. Got some blue grips, and then Hilliard clutch, and I already have the chain. And then I just went to go get the oil for the motor. Got some 10W30 oil, basic. This is what these motors take. So yeah, that's all. Oh, and this bracket for the battery, I had someone weld that up. And then I think that's all I have so far done. I'll go ahead and put the oil in the motor, put the gas in the gas tank, and start it up. See how it sounds. See what it does. But obviously I won't be able to ride it now because it has no clutch and no chain. But until then, we could at least start the motor. Alright, so here's the motor. I already put oil, as you can see, and gas. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it up.
Alright, so on this part of the video, the valve lash on the intake side was at 2000s, and the valve lash on the exhaust side was 3000s, I believe. And I believe I had a 35, if not a 38, pilot jet, and a 120 main jet. So since I have more compression and a long exhaust pipe, I had put the exhaust valve lash to 4000s, and the intake stayed at 3, or it went to 3. I put it at 3. And then for the pilot jet, I ended up putting I believe it was a 32 pilot jet and a 135 main jet with the needle clip. I believe it was sitting right in the middle. So I didn't record the tuning or like the plug, but I do have a picture of the spark plug, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that up right now. And of course the spark plug tells you how good or how bad your motor's running. So it was a little bit of tan, it had like a tan color on the outside. The rim of the actual spark plug was a little black, so it was running like just right. Before I put a 135 main jet, I had a 118, and a 118, it was running, but whenever I would give it full throttle, maybe like 2 or 3 seconds later, it would just completely cut out. So I knew it was just too lean. It was on the lean side. So I ended up putting a 135 main jet, and it ran like smooth. It didn't bog, it didn't stutter, it didn't cut out, it didn't do nothing. I mean, it just ran like smooth and good. So just letting you guys know, since I didn't record any of it.
There he goes, bike done. Hell yeah. Check out a Power Stroke 6.7. Hell yeah. There we go. He left me his parts to build another bike. And here's his bike all loaded up. He enjoyed the bike, riding it, if you saw in the video. So there you go. Did a testing on the mile per hour. It did 58 miles per hour. Basically 60 miles per hour if you round it up, 2 miles per hour. So yeah, there's the bike. And I'm gonna come out with another video with this, building another motor and building another bike. So there you go. Good build.